So I want to talk about this idea of being a nice guy or avoiding of confrontation. Now, I've kind of come to a little bit of a conclusion about this because I am somewhat of a recovering nice guy, I guess you could say. I used to really put people up on pedestals. I used to get probably too clingy in a new relationship with somebody, whether it's a friendship or whatever. And so I would often get taken advantage of because I would be maybe a little bit too easygoing. But one thing I realized very quickly actually is that you cannot do this. Like, you have to remain somewhat detached from everything. And I think I had a hard time with it because I was an only child. I wasn't raised with siblings where we were kind of fucking with each other and beating each other up all the time. I mean, I had cousins and my friends, they were like the closest things that I had to siblings, but amongst them, I was the only child. They grew up kind of, having that rougher play around style with their brothers. So it didn't come as naturally, and it came, me being a little bit more assertive or a little bit more disagreeable came a little bit later in life. And I think that it's important that if you're this type of person, if you're avoidant of confrontation out in the world, that and you're also trying to cope with spirituality, and this is kind of the idea that I thought of, and the conclusion that I came to is like, sometimes in this world we want to bypass the things that are actual lessons for us. They're actual work that we need to confront and we need to work on ourselves with by using this spiritual mindset. Like, I want to become enlightened. I want to walk through this world unfazed. I want to be lost in bliss and joy, and nothing anybody can do can hurt me or disturb me or perturb me. And it's like, dude, that is just such it's really a cop out, really. It's a bypass, and it's a way to cope with not being assertive as you'd like to be. And I think you really need to enmesh yourself back into the world and really work with these energies, because this is your lesson. The thing that you're avoiding is your lesson. The obstacle is the way. And really what it comes down to is just being in the world and learning how to navigate it. And all right, here's what I've learned about confrontation with other people. You can be assertive without being aggressive. You can tell people no without being an asshole. And that's kind of the biggest point. It's like, I think for many people, and this was certainly true for me, because although I'm not great at confrontation or arguments, I got into a lot of fights as a youth. I used to just haul off and beat people up. I would go from zero to just fighting because I didn't know how to do that middle ground. I didn't know how to argue. You know what I mean? And that's where you need to get comfortable with. You need to get comfortable with disagreeing with people, or people disagreeing with you, and not take it so personally. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has different opinions. And sometimes, yes, sometimes you do have to just cut yourself off from certain people because they're going to drain you. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a lot of nuance and discretion that needs to be had here, but it's really about, don't run away from your problems. Don't run away from the very hard thing that you need to confront. You need to, it's like conversion therapy. Actually, that's the wrong word. It's called exposure therapy. Conversion therapy. You're not gay, are you? Anyway, oh God, this one's going off the rails. Anyway, exposure therapy. You need to expose yourself to uncomfortable situations more often. It's just all it takes. And once you can kind of contain yourself, and the other thing about this is too, is like what I said earlier, if you're trying to be this like enlightened being that doesn't feel anything and is just unmoved, it's like, why? You're a human, you feel emotions. You're going to get angry, you're going to get upset, you're going to get emotional. The thing is to not avoid them, it's to feel them fully and allow your body to process that stuff and accept that that's going to happen. You are a human. You're not this fucking godly, other realmly person. And if you are, then you don't need this video. You know what I mean? So it's like, we got to really use our spirituality to ground ourselves in the material world and navigate it with mastery. You know what I mean? It's not so that we can live up in the clouds and be above everybody and not be affected by life in the world. You're going to be, it's inevitable. And until you accept that, you're never going to overcome this feeling of despair and shame that you have within yourself, because you can't have a disagree with somebody without taking it personal or thinking you're just a shitty person. You know, you're not. You're a good person. You're great. You just gotta learn how to be in the world and be around difficult people. It's exposure. You need to have more of it, not less of it. So don't isolate yourself. And if you need to for a little bit, I get that. I understand that. That's fine. But we always have to come back to the world. All right. This was a fun one. Hopefully my message was conveyed. And if you have any comments, just drop them in the bob, drop them below, hit the like button, subscribe. Fuck with your boy. All right. Peace out.